generally when we talk about music, DJ and all those type of things, we don't normally associate psychology with it, but there is sort of behaviors associated with doing certain things, you know. You've seen people who are naturally good at DJing or mixing, people who can make music and they're able to do it really quickly, catch on to it really quickly. You all know people like that, right? Yeah. Yes or yes? Yeah. Right, and you also know people who struggle, who are really slow and they take their time and but they get it eventually, right? You all know people like that as well, don't you? Yeah. Yeah, yes or yes. So, what's the difference that makes the difference? Guys, way ahead, man. Now look, I need some smart people out of my team, man. So, what's the difference that makes the difference? Sorry? Drive, yeah. Confidence, ability, attitude, natural, right reason, charisma, decision. Yes, all of those things, but where do those things stem from? Okay, thinking. Inspiration, perception. Thinking, yeah, we think about things. So thinking about certain things creates certain reactions, and and those actions create reactions, and then we have behaviors from those actions. And so this is just a bit of a back bit before. Is this okay? Yeah. Just a little bit of a back bit, so we set the premise for this whole scenario. So. DJs, put your hands up. Everybody else, what are you doing? Music, production, what kind of things? Shout it out. Production. Okay, good. So you come here to find out something, not just like for me, but just generally today, you come here to find out something. Have you got the answer to that? Is it clearer in your mind what it is that you want? Yeah, 100%? 50-50? 33%? Okay, good. Well, this is why we come to these places. We want to find out something, because when we don't know something, we need to know it. So we need to go somewhere and get the information. So we're going to just do a little exercise. This is going to help you figure out a little bit more about your own thinking styles and what you think you're able to achieve. Okay? What you think you're able to achieve. So everybody close your eyes for a second. We need full participation with this one. Everybody close their eyes. Now, I want you all to imagine that whatever it is that you want to achieve, whether it's going to be next year, the year after, whenever it is, I want you just to visualize that. I want you to imagine it. I want you to see it as clearly as you can in your mind. Just make the picture. Feel what that's going to be like. And just step into that. Is it a year, 2 years, whenever it is? Okay, come back. Anyone want to share what happened? Don't tell me no nasty shit, guys. This is a family show.
There was right light with lots of metal on you.
Okay, does that mean something to you?
Train stations.
Train stations? Anybody else? Relating to the goal that you want to achieve?
Video camera.
Video camera, okay. So, put your hand up if you saw a clear image in your mind of what it is that you want to have happen. Okay, so put your hand up if you didn't see a clear image of your mind and you didn't have it. Are you any closer to your goals? The ones who didn't see it as well? Okay. Sorry? Okay, so we only move towards things that we see in our minds. If we can't have a clear image in our mind of what we want, we won't move towards it. So I do lots of these workshops and I work with people one-on-one. And when I meet people, they normally say, I say, what's up? And they say, I'm stuck. So what does that mean when someone says they're stuck? It means that in their minds, in their mind's eye, in their imagination, the visual thing inside their minds, they can't see where they're going. So they don't move. So they say they're stuck. I'm blocked. How are you blocked? What is blocking you? We say it all the time, don't we? We say, I'm blocked or I'm stuck. How are you stuck? There's nothing visibly stopping you from moving forward, but yet we're not moving forward. How are you blocked? There's nothing physically blocking you, but yet we struggle to move forward. So what is it?
Ourselves.
Yeah, it's ourselves. But it's the image that we're making in our minds. So the exercise you just did then was to see how clearly your goal is. If you see it clearly, you will easily get it, because there'll be no resistance from your internal dialogue saying whether you think you can get the goal or not. You'll just make it happen. When you can't see it clearly in your mind, you won't attempt to do it. So imagine, this is the visual. You're driving down the motorway, it's pissing down with rain, and it's fog. How fast are you going? Slower than you would normally. And what about if it's torrential rain and 20-foot deep fog and sleet and snow behind a tractor? Yeah, you're going about 1 mile an hour, right? So what is it when someone says they're stuck? What are they actually saying?
I can't see the road.
Yeah, they can't see the road. So, is this making sense?
Yeah.
Great. So, what is a goal for? What do we need goals for? Why do we have goals? So we can measure, so we can have achievements. Anybody else? Target, progression, focus, motivation, everyone? Okay, here's another look at why we have goals. It's not about getting the goal, it's about who you become on the way. Okay? So imagine you guys now had your goal right now. Could you deal with it right now? Are you the type of person that's capable of achieving, of experiencing that goal right now? If someone opened the door and said, right, here's your dream right now, could you take that action right now and do it?
Yeah.
Really? You've got all your capacities, you learn everything you know you need to learn, and you can take action right now on your goal. Then you'd have it right now. Right? Then it's not a goal, you've already got it. Does that make sense? If you want to get something but you don't have it, then there's a distance between you here and where you're heading. That's the gap you're trying to cover. There's stuff in between that you have to learn so that you can actually accomplish it. Who's ever got something that they really, really wanted and then was disappointed? Who actually enjoyed the struggle? There you go. Simple illustration, guys. So we like the goals because it helps us become the person that we can. It helps us become the person so that we can achieve the goal. So when we look at everything we're actually doing, what are we actually achieving? We're moving towards something. We're learning something about ourselves. We're getting the capacities to be able to achieve the goal. If you guys know about the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell. Right, so Joseph Campbell helped George Lucas write Star Wars. So the hero's journey is a story arc that all humanity goes through. Everybody's going through, we're all going through it right now. If you watch any of those big blockbusters, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's always one person, the hero, and they go through trials and tribulations, and they have to overcome these trials and tribulations, and then they get the treasure at the end. That's what it's about. You get the treasure at the end, and what do you do once you've got wisdom and knowledge? What's the natural thing to do with wisdom and knowledge?
Share it.
Share it. Yeah. So now, let's go back to the beginning. What do you want goals for? Think about it now, from that perspective. What are your goals for? What? Yeah, growth. They teach you to grow. So let's look at what success really is now, from that perspective. So success now, from that perspective, is what?
A lot of trial and error.
A lot of trial and error, yeah. Another word for trial and error. What do?
Make mistakes.
Yeah, make mistakes. So a little bit later we'll talk about mistakes and culturally how they're loaded. You know, when we say, oh, make a mistake, there's a cultural baggage that's associated with those words, and so we don't want to make mistakes. But how the fuck are we supposed to learn? So imagine this. Your little baby's crawling along the floor, and they get up and they fall down. How many times would you allow your child to get up and fall down before you wrote them off? How many times?
Yeah.
Is there not as long as it took? Is that a number? But we do it though, as adults. What's our cut-off point? How many times were you prepared to try something and fail before you will achieve your goal? How many times?
As many as it takes.
As many as it takes? Yeah. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? Because really, then there isn't any failure. It's just changing your approach. Okay. So I want everybody to think about something that's bothering you, something that you're trying to achieve, something that you want to get to, to eventually. And while we go through these questions, I want you to think about your situation through these questions. Use these questions as a filter. These are ideas. These are different ways to think about the situation. Okay? Okay, so a lot of some of the things I'm going to talk about and some of the things we've experienced in are counterintuitive. Everybody knows what that means, right? Counterintuitive seems like the right thing to do, but it's not, right? So I meet lots of people, and I guess we all have met lots of people, and when they tell me about their goals and their vision, it's not really a goal or vision, it's someone else's. They're doing what they think they should do based on what someone else has achieved, someone else's ideas. So why do we do that? What is wrong with our own ideas? What stops us from believing in ourselves, trusting our own intuition? We made that decision, and then all of a sudden we got to another point and we stopped. And that's when everyone starts thinking, maybe they know better. Really? And this is where the whole thing about making a mistake comes in. I don't want to make a mistake, so I'll follow someone else who's actually created a lot of success. The problem with that is, you don't know what's going on internally with that person, how that person thinks, what that person does, where they've come from, how they have been brought up, what they believe about themselves. If you don't have the belief in yourself or the trust in your own instincts, and you're following someone else's, you will be lost. You're not finding fulfillment in yourself anytime soon. The game is about following your own intuition. That's why we all hear those little voices in our minds telling us the right thing to do. And we challenge that. We're going to be talking about 6 things we're going to talk about through this. So if anybody wants any questions, fire them out and we'll try and clear it up. Any questions?
You said about you not worrying about what other people have done and you just listening to yourself. What about listening or going off other people's examples, learning from other people's mistakes?
So the question is, what about learning from other people's mistakes? Depends on who they are. I'd like to learn from, Richard Branson's mistakes. I wouldn't mind having £20 billion problems, right? So choose, we'll get into that in a minute, but choose who you follow. Role models are important. We're easily swayed these days, and there's a lot of stuff, a lot of information out there that's confusing us. Question in the back? We'll get to you later, bro. Get a new time, get a new clock. So the second point is, so the first one basically simple, right? Just follow your own instincts, right? It's not about getting it right. So that's another thing we've got to understand. It's not about getting it right. There is no getting it right. There's no getting it wrong. There's only learning and there's only growth, right? So the more time you're willing to just try something, you'll create something new. So if you look at the most successful people on the planet, they all at one point got to that point where they thought, you know what, this is it. This line is it. I'm either going to step over that line and go somewhere I've never been before, or I'm going to stay in the known. And so this is a classic case of fear of the unknown. So we're imagining there's a fear of something that is real when it's not real. So we're thinking to ourselves, if I go over there, it's going to be worse than I am here. Well, you don't know that. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. Nobody can know that. There's too many variables in an infinite universe of choice for a human being to say, if I do that, that's going to happen. That's why plans never work. Because human beings were fuckers, right? Whenever someone says do one thing, we do the complete opposite. Just for fun sometimes. Warped sense of humour, man. So, the second reason why some people struggle to take these actions is because they don't want to get uncomfortable. They want to get outside their comfort zone. So this is quite an interesting whole idea. So you think about people who are really exceptional at what they do. You know, think about 5 or 6 people who you know are just really fucking exceptional, right? Off the chain, right? At some point, right, they had to get outside of what they were comfortable doing. So when people say they're stuck or they're blocked, that's because they're not willing to take a risk. And when I say take a risk, I just mean to do something you haven't done before. The definition of madness, Einstein said, is to do the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result. That's what happens when you're blocked. When someone says they're blocked, that's what they're doing. When someone says they're stuck, that's what they're doing. They're doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're not willing to try something new. You're not willing to try a different maneuver. When you come out of your house, go right this time. Try putting your socks on, you know, in the night time. It's like, just try something different, right? We've all done it, right? We've all done it. We're all guilty of it, right? When we have a problem, we just hammer away at it over and over. Who does that? We do it all the time. Everyone's hand should be up, because everyone's done this from time to time. We hammer away at the same thing, hoping to get a different result. It's madness. And it's only until we get so frustrated, oh, fuck it, and then you try it, and then it works. That fear is what we need to overcome. There's nothing over the line. There's nothing there. It's imagined. So getting outside your comfort zone is about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. It's being comfortable doing unusual things. It's being comfortable standing in the face of everybody else. When everyone else says you're wrong, you know instinctively that you're right. And you're not prepared to back down. You know something. You've got a dream. You've got a vision. And you're not going to back down just because someone else doesn't like it. Someone else doesn't see the same thing you see. So you're going to compromise your dream, your vision because of what someone else thinks, someone else believes? No. All the music that you listen to was created by those type of rebels. All the businesses that are super successful, all the brands and the stuff you're wearing, the stuff we got in our pockets, tech, the fucking microphone, and what, all those were created by your person. I've got to remember to do that. All those were created by one person who said, you know what, I got this idea. I ain't quite sure about it, but you know what? And these are the 2 famous words. Fuck it. Right? What's the worst that can happen? Fuck it, Bristol. Bristol on a Friday, Saturday night. It's the worst that can happen. It's dangerous words, fuck it then, innit? Okay. So, you've been out with me, haven't you? So, whatever it is that you're doing, there's always a way it can be done. It might not be apparent to you right away, but it's only to the degree that you're willing to risk whatever it is that you think you're risking to find it. So here's a clue. Whenever you're stuck, you know exactly what to do. And I'll tell you why. Because it's the one thing you don't want to do. That's the one thing you have to do. And it's in the one place you don't want to go. Once you go there, and to that one place you don't want to go, and you do that one thing that you don't want to do, bosh, it happens. It happens. It happens. So, you all probably know me from DJing and producing and whatnot, so I'll tell you a quick story. I have been playing in front of up to maybe 50,000 people, whatever normal. The first time I actually stood up here to do the talk without the decks as to hide behind, trust me, I spent 20 minutes in the toilet. Like nervous, like, oh my god, like about 10 people. I was so fucking scared. I couldn't even put, and so in the first 5 minutes I could barely put 3 or 4 words together. I was sweating, getting water. Finally I got it together and it was a good talk. But that first 10, 15 minutes, so frightening. I thought the world was going to fucking cave in, my heart was pounding, and then I got through it and I was like, fucking hell, what was all that about then? I'm still here. You know, I had a bit of a cardiac fucking arrest when I was at there, but I'm still here. And so whenever I do something I haven't done before, I always remember that. I always remember, your heart's beating really fast, it's going to slow down in a minute. You know, you're sweating profusely and you look really funny, but you'll get over yourself. And so whatever it is, it's a perceived danger. Who's ever been really, really scared of doing something and it didn't happen? Right. Okay? It's right? So let's look at your whatever it is that you said again, whatever it is that you wanted, that the thing that you're thinking about. Now think about through the lens of this making yourself uncomfortable. How likely are you now to at least entertain the thought of whatever it is that you might not have been able to do before? You can now challenge it, right?
I thought we were meant to raise our hands. So yes.
You got a question?
No, I don't have a question.
Oh. You were what, just breathing? Sorry. So the second point was get comfortable being uncomfortable, okay? Once you get used to the sensations of being uncomfortable, you know when they're coming, because it's feelings. So before when I started, I asked you what this whole thing's about, and it's about behaviors, thoughts. So thoughts are the things that's creating the response in our bodies. So if we can think differently about it, we're going to have a different response in the body. So the body follows the mind, and the mind follows the body. So how many people do you know who's depressed and look like this? That's not a sign of someone who's depressed, is it? Right, so the body can lead as well. So if you don't feel like doing something, get out of the position you're in. Stand up. Walk to a different place. Do something different. Wherever you are and you're challenged and you always do the same thing all the time, do something different. Don't sit in the same room where you're always having problems. You've anchored the problem. Every time you go back into that space, it will subconsciously remind you you're supposed to be stuck. So don't think about that same problem there. Go for a walk. Go down in the park or in nature or on a river. Rivers or the sea are great for this type of inspiration, new thinking, new types of attitude. So challenge yourself. Don't just sit in there, because you don't have to deal with the issue. That's a choice. You know, we choose those choices. We think that that's our only choice. It's not. We're infinite beings with infinite choice. This is an infinite universe. You can't run out of choices. You can't run out of them. There's too many choices to choose from. By the way, the people that are playing music, DJs, what music do you DJ?
Funk reggae.
Funk reggae,
Garagey house.
drum and bass. What about the producers? What music are you making? Drum and bass, trance, soul,
Singing somewhat electronica.
singing, songwriting, electronica. Okay, this is a unique one. You just crossed them, whatever combination on about 3 or 4 different things. Everybody in this room should have said something different. There's no reason we should all be making the same music. None whatsoever. There's so much choice out there. We could all do something different and we still wouldn't run out of fucking opportunities. Who's excited to see a blockbuster movie where the lead character does the same thing as the other 10 films you've seen that week? Big explosions, gets the girl at the end, gets the money. And then the next week you're going to go see another film, different character, same script, same film. How many films could you watch like that and really enjoy it? How many? What's the number? None. So why do we do it with music? Why do we tolerate listening to music by different people that all sounds the same? Why do we do that? Why do we actually pay for that? Well, we get money out of our pocket, you've been working all week.
Yeah, we're brainwashed.
What? Yeah, programmed. You know, brainwashed. It's a bit strong, isn't it? Brainwashed. Okay.
What else did you make besides drum and bass then?
I originally started making hip hop, so I couldn't. It came out like jungle,
Yeah, yeah.
and now I'm making jungle that's coming out like hip hop. I finally made it 20 years later. No, I'm serious. I really did try really hard to make hip hop. And I thought what I was doing was really interesting. I played to a few people and I just got some funny looks. I was like, what the fuck is that? It's hip hop, isn't it? I was like, in your mind, mate. I was like, alright, cool. But in saying that, to be fair, I had a good crew of people around me at the time who supported what we were doing. And I think, you know, I've been fortunate enough to travel all around the world. And there isn't another place like Bristol I've been to. There's a few places that have come close, like H Street in San Francisco, Byron Bay in Australia. They're very close, but Bristol is just this fucked up place. It is, man. It's fucked up here, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's really interesting. It's got some interesting vibes, and
Sorry.
that's my agent. And it's got some interesting vibes, and it's a really, really unique, special place. And the music that comes out of it is like nothing else anywhere else. And what I got from traveling was that how people who are not from here, they think about Bristol. It's like, what's it like there? Oh my God, what'd you do there? What happens there? How'd you guys make all that wonderful music? And it's like, and because we live here, we take it for granted. We don't actually see it, we don't get it. But it's only until you go out, you can actually understand it. So this is a very, very unique space for creativity, for being able to express your uniqueness. And that's one thing that you guys have got in abundance. And I'm pushing you about this genre thing and the making it, but that's just to get you a little bit uncomfortable. That's my job. But to be true, everybody in here is doing something new, different, and original. And if you're in Bristol, you can't stay safe. We don't allow that. We want to be challenged. We look around and we see that, oh my God, that guy's just set up this thing. Oh my God, that music sounds amazing. Oh my God, that club's doing that. Oh my God. And it's like there's always something going on. They're always challenging. And I find that very, very inspiring. I don't know about you guys, but that really inspires me, and I really like it about this place. So it's a great place to be. Okay, so what is the problem that creates the problem with the problem? That stops us knowing what we don't know, Learning. Learning's good. What keeps learning in place?
Positivity, drive.
No?
Practice.
Yeah, another word for practice. What happens when you practice something enough? Discipline, but what happens when you practice something enough? It becomes a habit. A habit. So, the key to creating what you want is to have better habits, more productive habits. Because the reason we don't get what we want is because we've got habits we don't want, or habits we're not aware of. So, what you don't know, you don't know, you don't know. Because you couldn't know it. Because you don't know, right? Think about it. If you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you wouldn't know it.
Because you never know in the first place.
Because you might, well, yeah. Yeah. So, when you don't know, you just can't know, right? Work with me, guys. This is the serious thing, right? This is the point. So when you don't know, you can't sort out the problem because it's outside of your awareness. Someone will come to you and say, hey, Kay, you're acting weird. No, I'm not. You wouldn't know. How often do you go around the streets watching yourself in the mirrors and behaving like, how am I looking today? Am I cool? Am I cool? Who does that? Don't answer. But who does that? No one. So you wouldn't know. So if there's a level where there's a problem and you're not getting the result you want, just by definition, you don't know there's a problem. You just know you're not getting what you want. At that point there, if you come to someone, someone to help you, you can go to them and say, I'm not getting the result I want. Bingo, right? That's awareness. Now you know you don't know. A little bit better, right? Because if you know you don't know, you can fix the problem. Right? So we've got 4 levels of competences. You guys know about the 4 levels of competences? So the first level is unconscious, incompetent. You don't know, you don't know. That you don't know. Right? Stuck, blocked, happy where you are or not happy where you are. Second level is you know you don't know, and that is conscious, incompetent. So now you know you don't know. Right? So then you go to the next level, because once you know that you don't know, you can go and ask someone, look, I'm not getting this result. And someone will say, great, I can work with that. Right? Because now you're in front of me and I can work with that. The next stage up now is you're sorting out the problem. You've got conscious competent. Right? You're solving the problem. So what would be conscious competent? Who drives a car? So in that stage, because in the beginning you didn't know how to drive a car, right? You get in a car or a bike or a skateboard, anything that's challenging to learn. In the beginning, you don't know how to do it, right? The pedals, there's too many pedals, the steering wheel, or if you're a skater, there's these 4 wheels and you've got a balances board, or if you're making music, it's just lots of buttons right in front of you. You just don't know. Second level is someone starts to show you something. You start to get awareness. If you're learning to drive, they show you where the wheel is, the indicator, and you start to get a little bit confident. Now you know you can potentially learn this new thing, right? Yes or yes? Yeah. Right. So now you're learning this new thing, right? There's some awareness coming into it. The idea that you had before was I can't learn it or I don't know how to learn it. Now it's changed to I know how to do this or I have a better idea how to do this, right? We're in this stage now. So there now we're in conscious competent. The next level now is you passed your test, now you're driving by yourself, right? You're in conscious competent now, right? Who drives while they're on the phone and still gets to where they're going? Right, that's unconscious competent. You created a habit that just does what it does by itself. You're not consciously thinking, I need to turn the wheel, I need to indicate, I need to look in the mirror. And there's all these complicated, many maneuvers, you don't think about anymore. That's how you want to be with the thing that's not working for you in your life right now. You want to get to a level where it just becomes unconscious. You just do it. There's no thinking about it. Just like you walk, you don't think about it. Everything you do that you're really good at, you don't think about it. You just do it. It's programmed in at an unconscious level. But here's the rub. The same thing that's causing you the problem that you may or may not know is also buried in at the unconscious level and is doing it without your awareness. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So let's say you're unconscious competent at working the machine, yeah? How does that time with your creativity?
Everything is the same thing. You only have one mind and one brain. Once you learn how to learn, you can learn how to learn anything. Does that make sense? So I'm talking about the same, what we're talking about here, I'm talking about in ways that everyone can understand it, but it's the same principles. Once you learn how to learn, you can learn anything. It's the same process. Think about how you've ever learned anything. There was a part when you're in the dark, there's another part when someone showed you how to do it, where you had a moment of illumination, then you start to do it all the time, incessantly, till you got really good at it, and then you start to show other people how to do it. That's unconscious, unconfident. You just created a new habit. 2 questions. Sorry, I can't hear you, bro. So the question is, how far do you go to get help from other people when you're making your music, or should you feel bad for asking people for help? Well, I don't believe there's a limit to anything, and it depends on how much you want something. So if you really, really want something, you can decide how much you want it and what you're prepared to do for it. That's your personal choice. I'll do whatever I need to do within the law and within moral parameters. Yeah. What was there? Yeah, sorry, go on. Conscious confident.
Yeah, like when you're just a habit.
Yeah.
Then you can get stuck, right?
You can, yeah.
Reach a point where unless you re-challenge yourself to learn something new.
So the question is, once you reach a level of conscious competency, you could get stuck. Well, think about it like this. When do you stop growing? Right, so why would you want to stop learning? There is no getting it done. There is no getting it right. And there is no end. Like, that's the program. That's the brainwashing. Right? So the society, everyone else out there, says you have to get it done. Get what done?
When you made all your tracks and all that around that time, did you ever feel they were completely finished when you did them?
No. So the question was, did I ever feel like any of the music that I made was completely finished? And the answer is no, I still do. And I'm still not happy with whatever I do now. But that's only because I listen to people. So if you want to, the quickest way to stretch yourself is to hang around people way smarter than you. Like, infinitely smarter. It fucking hurts in the beginning. But you pick up shit really quick. They push you hard. You're in rooms and it's uncomfortable. It's like really uncomfortable. But you know, they push you and you learn really quick. And you have to learn really quick. But we're smart. Human beings are smart. We're adaptable. The thing, like, we're all conditioned by school. And people who came before us who were conditioned as well. And there's no blame, there's no fault. We do have choices, especially as adults. We can choose how you want to take our next steps. Do you want to keep doing what you're doing, or do you want to do something different? If you want to do something different, then take some action. This is a choice now. If you want to keep doing the same thing and getting the same thing, then that's fine, you can do that. But you can't, like, say your life's not working when you do have choices. Today, we have more information than any time in human history in our pockets. You only got to type in the problem and you'll get 1 billion fucking answers. Choose one and then take action on it. Is it going to be the right action? I don't know. What does it matter? Get it into action. Just get into action. Do something. If you keep doing the same thing, you'll keep getting the same thing. If you just change your strategy, just change the way you do something. And it's not even about thinking necessarily at that point. If you can't get out of your own funk, just go and sit with other people that you know are really good at doing something and just talk. Don't even talk about the problem. You notice I haven't really talked about the problem, anyone's problem. But what I'm talking about generally could help you guys, right? It's general stuff. But this is common knowledge. I'm not doing anything. I'm not saying, am I saying anything you guys don't know already or have heard before in certain different forms? Not really. I'm just applying it to this situation, and I'm telling you stories. I'm telling you in a way so that it's less confrontational. What is it like when someone gives you some advice you don't want? Yeah, right? You shut off. You're not interested. So this is about me communicating. You know, hopefully I've got your trust. I've got 20 years in the music business. My record speaks for itself. So you know I know a bit about what I'm talking about. So that helps, right? So this is what it's about. You guys have listened to all these people today who got track records. And they've done stuff that you can relate to. So it's about just listening and then applying one little thing. Just one thing. Just don't try and apply everything that you learn from what you get from today. Just take one thing and apply that one thing. Get the result that you want and then do the next thing. So overwhelm is one of the killers of people trying to be successful or learn something new. They're just overwhelmed. They come to workshops and they've got loads of notes, or they go to these success seminars and they go and they try and apply everything in that one day. Oh, it's not working. You're trying to get the whole world through a fucking bottle. It's not going to work. You just take one idea, apply that one idea, master that idea, and then do the next thing. When you were driving a car, were you learning to bake a cake at the same time? Why?
Get all over the car.
Get it all over the car, right. So when you learned to drive the car, you were learning to drive the car. No distractions. You did one thing till you mastered it, then you moved on to the next thing. You learned how to drive from your house to your girlfriend's house. Or to your boyfriend's house, whichever one it was. That was the next thing you learned. Then the next thing you learned after that was how to drive to another city. Right? It's one thing at a time. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Good. So, here's the killer. Fear of failure. Ooh. The bully in the playground. So let's look at fear of failure. Why people don't do something. What is fear of failure?
Negative.
It's irrational, it's negative. You don't want to look stupid.
It's an illusion.
It's an illusion. You scared what? Can't hear you. Yeah, you're scared you won't amount to stuff.